everybody, back here on the 1985, I don't know whether to call it a 1000 or 1100. It's supposed to be 1000, but it has an 1100 motor on it, so we'll call it the 1100. We are going to go with the brown tank, much cleaner than the gray one that was on it. On the inside, it's got a little crease on the side of it. I'll show you. Got a little ding here in the side of it. We're going to have to do some body work on. Both things going to have to be painted anyway. They both got to be, well, especially the secondary tank needs to be cleaned out on the inside. We'll see what we can do about cleaning out the primary tank a little better also. I think I got figured out what's going on with the electrical and the fuel setup they had on this thing. Why they did it this way, I've got no idea. Let me get the camera and I'll bring you over here and show you what's going on. It's the only way to explain it, really. All right, I had showed you in the previous video, this is the positive wire right here. Somebody tapped off it, brought it up here, tapped into the main harness. Right here. Turns out there used to be a main fuse that went on this tab right here that went down to the battery, and for some reason that got eliminated, and that was how they fixed that. And why they hook the wires like this is beyond me. That's something you use in houses. Anyway, there's several things missing here. There's a fuel controller. This is a starter relay. This is the relay for your kickstand. There is a fuel controller relay that went here, and this one does all your blinkers and everything else. And then there's a diode somewhere that's supposed to be up in here. Anyway, I'll have to find that. But they've got this all done up. This is a an aftermarket Mr. Gasket fuel regulator, and it regulates from 1 to 5 pounds. And what happened down here, now these 1100s, unlike the 700 and 750s, had a fuel pump. Well, right here is where that fuel pump mounted. So whoever put these aftermarket exhausts on here that they made ran it right through where the fuel pump was supposed to go. So they eliminated the fuel pump, and along with this Mr. Gasket fuel regulator, they put in a Mr. Gasket fuel pump, a micro electric fuel pump. And they ran the wire down here, or the fuel hose that goes over to the secondary tank on the other side. Supposed to have an inline fuel filter in it. Comes up through here, hooks into this, and then goes up the backbone and comes up to here. Now, where this hose is supposed to go originally off the original fuel pump is all the way up to the carb where this hose goes. Now, I'm going to explain to you what they did. I don't know. They took the hose coming from the secondary fuel tank here. You got these two that hook up to the bottom of the gas tank. They come down to these right here. That's the same hoses, and they go into the secondary fuel tank right there. Those two nipples right there. And out the bottom, it goes through here, and it's going over to that electric fuel pump that they installed on the other side. Now, it's supposed to go over this one to the original fuel pump, and then go straight up, all the way up to the carburetors up here. Goes down and then splits off into a T and goes off to either carburetor. That's where this hose is going. Now, what they did, for some reason, they put a T, and there isn't supposed to be a T in this. It's supposed to come right down to here and just be one solid hose. They put a T in the bottom here And that's what this hooks to. And they put a fuel shut off. And then there's another little line, and this is the line coming up from the fuel regulator from the electric fuel pump. That's coming into a T right here, and this is where they put a fuel filter before it goes to the carburetors. Now, it should be before it goes into the electric fuel pump to keep everything clean. But so what they did was they used the original fuel tank as a main fuel tank, and they ran it down into here, and it filled the primary fuel or the secondary fuel tank up when you filled that one up. Just ran down and filled it up by gravity. Now, they would turn this on, boom, like so, and fuel would run from the main fuel tank from here down through here and into the carburetors. So they just gravity fed the carburetors from where the main fuel tank is. Now, when that ran out and it got down to here, they would flip on, if you look right here, there's a fuel reservoir on, or fuel reserve. So they would flip this switch right here, boom, and that would kick on the electric fuel pump that they had installed. That sends power to that. They regulated the pressure with this, which they really didn't have to, because the aftermarket fuel pump pumps 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the original fuel pump for this pumped 3 pounds. So they probably really didn't need that regulator. But anyway, they put it there just to dial it down if they had to. But they're using that as an electric reserve tank from up there. They switch it on, and then this secondary tank is their reserve. And they got that much gas to get to the gas station, and they use the electric fuel pump to pump it from here up to the carburetors because it's below the level of the carburetors. So that's what's going on with all this. I was really confused. It took me a little bit to figure it out. But now that I got it figured out, I can straighten it out. I got the main fuse coming. I'm going to reinstall that and get rid of that happy little wire they got going down there. If I leave it set up the way it is and just replace all the lines, I don't need the fuel controller. I did buy the original fuel pump, and I ordered it. It was only $22, and that's when I realized that this pipe was going right where that was, and that fuel pump's about this big, so it's not going to fit in there with it. So I think what I might do is just reinstall a brand new micro electro fuel pump back here and just keep it set up the way they got it. And if it'll start and run that way, I don't mind using the reserve tank on the other side as or the secondary tank as a reserve tank, and then using the original tank as a primary tank. That works fine by me as long as I know how it's working. But so that's where we're at on all that. Give you a look at this. I don't know if you remember what the other tank looked like. This one's a whole lot better. Let's see if I can get it to focus in there. But you can see it's a lot better than the other one. I might see what I can do about cleaning it out a little bit more, but it's pretty good. This one's really bad. It's really going to take some doing on that one. I might even see if I can't find another one in better shape. We'll see. All right, well, that's where we're at on all this. I took this out and scrubbed it up. I don't know if you can notice it at all, but probably doesn't look any cleaner than it did. I do have a ton of parts from the 94 Virago bobber chopper build I did. If you haven't seen that build, go on the channel. It turned out really sweet. And I've got a bunch of leftover stuff that I'm going to put on this bike that was on that bike, like this differential. You can see how bad this is. I've got a really nice one that came off that, and I got a really swing arm in really nice shape that came off that. They were replaced with chrome ones on the bobber chopper build. So I'm going to throw the better looking ones, the ones that came off that on here. I have everything on the rear end here that came off that build. I have engine guards that are missing up here that came off that build. So there's a lot of things I can use from that other build too. But we'll get this looking good. Just wanted to let you know where we're at, show you what was going on with all of that. Okay, I still didn't get these fluids changed. Next time you come back, I'm going to have the oil changed and the differential changed. And I think the next video is going to be about getting both these pods off. Here and here. And getting these carburetors off so I can get them gone through and cleaned up and ready to go, because I found out that that is why the throttle isn't turning, is the carburetors are froze up. So, all right, that's where we're at. Okay, everybody. I just explained to you what's going on with this fuel system. It's actually a couple days later. I'm gonna dig into this thing because we all want to see this start. That's what this is about. Like I said, I'm going to replace all these fuel lines. I'm going to move this fuel filter from here down before the fuel pump, which is where it should be. I'll probably also put it in another one for the gravity feed off the main tank. And that way, I'm sure nothing's going to be getting down on the carburetors. But I have to get this pod and this pod off, get the carburetors out. I have to get all the lines redone, get the new fuel filter and fuel pump on there. I did also get another fuel regulator. For whatever reason, they got this one regulated down to 1.5 pounds. I know the fuel pump that I got puts out 2 to 3, and the original one put out around 3. So whatever. Hopefully, with that being set low like that, it'll be enough to keep the float bowls full and won't overpower anything, and it all should work good. The guy said this was running when I got it from him and that he had ridden it. I'm finding that hard to believe, because I'm looking around on this thing when I was cleaning it the other day, and there is a up front here, there's a vacuum unit that controls timing advance when the RPMs climb. And I looked at the vacuum line going from that's supposed to be going down to a nipple on the manifold where it hooks up to the carburetor, isn't hooked up. I'm going to get you over here and show you a couple of things. But anyway, we got mail in, so let me go through that first. We have 10 feet of new fuel line. I have the main fuse that I said was missing, and I'm going to put that back in. I'm going to solder and shrink wrap all that. We have a new mini fuel pump. New mini fuel pump that actually came with a fuel filter in it. So we're going to have all that hooked up. And I had actually ordered another fuel filter. I actually ordered another fuel filter because I didn't think that came with it, so maybe that'll be the one I use for the gravity feed. Anyway, we got all that. We got the new gas cap for the fuel tank. I already had that. What else do we got? Oh, this was the original fuel pump that I ordered, but as you can see, it's monstrous, and it's not going to fit down where that pipe was. So, this here is the new fuel pump regulator. Comes with half a dozen different size nipples. So, we got everything we need. Now, I'm going to get you over here and show you some of the stuff I found that I got to take care of. Why I don't think this thing rained before. Okay, sorry if you're hearing some background noise. This vacuum hose right here, see if I can get her to focus. That one right there is supposed to go down into that nipple right there, the one with nothing on it. Well, that's where that hose is supposed to hook up. And if that's not on there when this bike's running down the road, you don't have vacuum advance. So I don't get it. The other thing I found, motor mounts loose. And like I said, you know, everything going on with this. So you can see they had that regulated down to 1.5 pounds. And right down here where this line's coming in is where the new fuel filter is going to be. So, all right, I'm going to get it all this. Something else I wanted to show everybody. This fuel tank here. I was telling you how bad this was inside. This is what's coming out of it. I'm assuming that's mostly water, but that'll give you an idea what the inside of that tank looks like. There's a little bit of gear oil in there because, like I told you, when I came back, I would have the fluids changed in this. I did change the differential and the motor oil, so that's all done. We get this fuel system gone through and cleaned out. I don't know what I'm going to do with these two tanks yet. I think I'm going to try electrolyte on them. That secondary tank's going to be a bad one. Like I said, this fuel tank here, the primary fuel tank, isn't too bad inside, but we'll get her done. Gonna take a little bit because getting them carbs out of there, and then I got to run them through, you know, clean them, ultrasonic, put them back together, get them back on here, all that good stuff. And even leaning a little bit towards the single carb route because then I don't got to go through sinking them and everything else, but we'll see. I've got a carburetor all ready to go for this. It's a Makuni 32. Would go on there nicely with a single manifold. So, all right, let me get at this. See you in a bit. Okay, just something else I wanted to show you, and another reason why I don't think this was running. If you look right here, now that I got this pod off, there should be 2 vacuum lines there. There should be another one here. And now that we can see it a little better, get my finger out of the way. If you look at these fuel lines where they've got this whole mess, I'm going to eliminate and get rid of that. Well, it's all still going to be there, but you're not going to see it. This is the top of one of the carburetors. The other one's just over on the other side of it, right over here. This fuel line should be coming up to a T that's right in here, instead of all this coming all the way up around the front, and then they come back to it. Let me grab the flashlight. You can probably see in here. Okay, my flashlight don't want to work. But right down in this hole is where the T is, where the gas splits off to these 2 carbs. Why they brought it way up around, where is it? Down around the front end here, and then back over to the carbs back here again, when they could have just went right up over the top and here was, I don't know. I don't even know why they crossed back over to this side of the bike when the fuel pump's on the other side, and they just could have just run right up under this fuel rail right here, or the backbone right here, and come right up over the top. But like I said, I'm going to fix all that. All right, let me get the rest of this off. All right. Another reason why I think this bike might not have been a up and running bike is right here there's supposed to be a clamp. Let's see how well we can see this. There's one right here where the carburetor hooks to the head. There's also one here where it comes in from the air cleaner down to the front of the carburetor. Now, in my last Virago build, I had a problem with a high idle because one of these clamps was missing. There's supposed to be one here, and the same with the carb on the other side. There's supposed to be 4 clamps all together. This bike is missing the one here and the one on the other side. So that's another reason. Now, I also finally got this completely off. And not only was I missing the 2 vacuum hoses going to this and this, the 2 going down here were also not on it. So I don't know exactly what's supposed to be going to those. I'm going to have to look in the manual and find out. But I'm going to show you something here on the other side too. All right. This is what I was talking about with this nipple here that goes on the boot that goes, the manifold basically. This is the one that controls your idle, your vacuum advance for your timing. With this being on there, without this being on there, flashlight's goofing up. Your timing isn't going to advance when you're on the throttle. Plus, you have a giant vacuum leak here with this nipple right here. So, again, another reason why, and like I said, missing the clamp here that goes on this rubber boot. This one's here, but that one's not. So, and that was the problem on my last build. I was getting unregulated air in through here and was causing a high idle problem. So if this was up and running, it definitely had that. And like I said, this was not advancing the timing when it was running. So I don't get it. But, all right, I'm going to get these carbs the rest of the way off of here. Okay, everybody. I don't want this video to get too long and boring. I don't want to bore the hell out of you. I'm going to get these carburetors off of here, get them down on the bench and get them cleaned out. Get them back up here and get them on the bike. I'm not going to make a video of that. There's 800 videos on YouTube and all over the internet on how to pull these carbs and clean them. I don't think me making another one is going to show you anything that they don't already show you. If you want to know how to do it, I might. Well, we'll see. The other thing I got to do is these 2 tanks, and I'm probably going to do electrolysis on those, and that's like a couple of day venture. I may, make a little footage while I'm going through both these things, but I'm not going to make a front to back video on them. The other thing is, since there was nothing hooked up on this that went on the side of the bike, it makes it a prime candidate for a single carburetor manifold. And I've already got a carburetor that's ready to go on this thing. I don't got to do anything to. It's all cleaned out and ready to go. So we very well may wind up going that route, but we'll see what happens. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get them out, get these tanks clean. As always, be good to each other. Ride safe. I don't know, it depends on where you are. Right now it's December here in the Northeast. December 3rd, I believe, and it's cold out. Nasty, rainy, and cold. So we're not going to be able to ride here for probably 5 months now. But if you're in a place where you can ride, hey, God bless. Get out there and enjoy it. Be safe. Catch you all in the next video. Live life behind bars.